Hello and welcome to episode 21 of Relics of Orr. I am your host tonight, Kate. I'm not Eric. Eric is on hiatus. So joining me tonight, we have our regular host, Evie. Hi, Evie. Doing the wave.
Hello.
And tonight, a brand new host. Well, not new, returning guest host, I believe. Washednblood.
First time on Relics.
Yeah,
But
who's
we
now
worked in the past. But hi.
is now joining our team as a regular host. And welcome. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
I'm kind of sad.
Oh, why's that?
Because I am not the guy with the beard anymore.
Sorry, man. However, yours is the bigger beard at the moment, so I do have to concede right away.
You
yeah. can be the bald guy.
That works.
I see how I didn't know there was a code of conduct with beards that got the right of way.
Yeah.
There's beard etiquette.
I did not know that.
That's why I don't shave. So that when I walk down hallways with other men, they have to get out of my way.
It's brilliant. All right, so we do have quite a bit to talk about tonight, actually. I didn't think we were going to, but somehow show notes developed. And we just got patch news today, actually, about Blood and Madness, which is the upcoming patch on the 15th. Are you guys excited for this? I'm excited for this.
Is it said that the thing I'm most excited about is 20 slot bags?
Yes, no. You want to tell us how we go about getting those?
Candy corn, which has spiked in price, so I am very happy.
Did it finally?
Because I may have made 20 gold today in candy corn.
Wow. Wow, I didn't think they would go up that much. That's insane.
I had an entire bank tab just full of candy corn.
Oh my gosh.
So
you didn't spend it at that one thing. What was it called?
I knew something
like
this was going to happen.
Ah, clever. This is why we keep you around. So Blood and Madness is the return of Halloween. We'll start seeing all kinds of minigames coming back. Not minigames, but the Halloween stuff. The doors, the labyrinth, the jumping puzzle, the clock tower is coming back, like we've talked about in the past. And this year, the Bloody Prince. What do we know about him?
Nothing.
We know he's the son of Mad King Thorn.
That's about it.
That's it. Literally.
Yeah, so this is this year's evolution of Halloween. And if you haven't been around in the past for Halloween, it's a long-standing, wonderful Guild Wars tradition starting all the way back in 2005, I think. Yes? Mm-hmm. And every year there's a bit of an expansion to the Mad King's story. This year it's the Bloody Prince. Last year, what did we do last year? Does anyone remember?
He broke the seal in Lion's Arch.
Yeah,
and started to invade through there, and that's why the statue exploded. And there was just that dungeon, and we can go into the labyrinth for the first time and all that.
Whoa, that was temporary content, huh? That was just last year's. So we won't see that dungeon this year, will we?
Well,
potentially.
There's screenshots of the dungeon, but there's a lot of differences that are subtle differences. Like the sky is different, though that could just be them upgrading things. There's more platforms, for sure. But the Mad King is still there. I wouldn't be surprised. It's just they've improved the dungeon.
Yeah, it seems to me like there might be some interplay between the Bloody Prince and the Mad King, where maybe, instead of just the one single boss dungeon, they're going to actually introduce some dual boss mechanics or maybe something like that.
That'd be cool. It's interesting to see the Mad King interact with other NPCs in Tyria. Back in Guild Wars, he and Palawa Joko had duked it out once over an invisible pony named Mr. Gumdrops, I believe. I'm not making this up, by the way.
No,
this was an actual event. It was wonderful. I remember it was like not a mini game, but it was like a whole challenge mission, and you had to guide around candy corn elementals. Was that it? I can't remember.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
I think so.
Yeah. Wow. That was or 3 years ago, maybe? No, I don't know. But that's definitely, I don't know what's going on in Guild Wars this year, but it's definitely worth checking out. I love the Halloween. It's a wonderful tradition.
Yeah, Halloween I
Um,
think is one of my favorite holidays that they do. Honestly.
absolutely. Oh, and in keeping with tradition, there will be a Mad King Says finale in which you can get a hat, which is not a hat, it's a mask this year. It kind of reminds me of the Jubilee masks off the gem store. So if you didn't want to get one of those because they cost gems, you'll be able to get one for free at Halloween.
And can I just point out in the screenshot that the person wearing that mask is also wearing armor?
Oh, so
Yeah.
it's a helm, not a hat. Which is important because town clothes are a thing that is not very useful.
So it's like going back to Guild Wars 1 where they basically just gave you skins.
Well,
Which is
they did that with Dragon
awesome.
Bash already, didn't they?
Yeah.
The helms from Dragon Bash? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I would safely say we'll probably see the same thing, huh? You'll probably get a light, medium, and heavy version. Or maybe you'll be able to pick it. I don't know what they've developed since then.
Well, I mean, given the fact that they've introduced the achievement, the ability you can reuse those skins over and over, I'm hoping that they do something like that, where we're
Oh,
able to lock them in and not just have the single one-time use items.
yes, that's even better. Yes, ArenaNet.
Please.
This man knows what he's talking about.
Because I mean, I like them, but I'm always leery of using it. Because maybe what if I want to change next time? Then I'm gonna have to go do something else.
Yeah, transmutation stones. ArenaNet must be making bank off those because I buy a new
Yeah.
pack of them like every other month. I don't want to use the gem store, but oh gosh, I need to because transmutation stones. But in addition to that, there'll be a meta event which spawns a candy corn node in your home instance when you complete it, like the Zephyr Sanctum. I always forget what it's called for some reason.
Quartz.
Yeah.
Quartz node.
Cool. So coming back to using the home instance again for another node, but is there a reason we want candy corn nodes in our home instances now?
It's a good question. I mean, I guess if you're gonna make 20
Precursor
gold off
crafting.
of
Precursor crafting. You don't know. You can't make candy corns in a precursor. But if they make a legendary
That's going to be
Halloween,
how they time gate the precursor. You have to have candy corn, snowflakes, and quartz.
no.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's only gonna take about 5 years to get. It's all right.
No, please no. But
I do like the fact though that they are adding more stuff to the home instances because honestly, before the quartz node, there was zero reason to go to your home instance.
Mhm.
Other than to say, "Oh, look, I did some stuff. Okay, now I'm gonna go back out in the rest of the world where all the people are, and go have fun with them."
Yeah, I have to admit though, I got my quartz, and I'm actually kind of crafting celestial gear, but I haven't been to my home instance at all lately anyway, even with the quartz. I haven't sold it. It's not worth that much, is it? Should I be
Haven't
going
checked.
to my home instance? No one knows.
It's probably
Yeah.
worth like 5 gold a pop now.
I don't know. Crafting celestial armor is so frustrating because I have to go out and make one thing every day. It's the same as the ascended crafting for me. I don't like making one thing every day. I'm the kind of person who, the way I play is I ignore things for a long time and then one day I sit down and I'm like, I'm going to work on this today and I work through it. Like when I do ore runs, I do ore runs. I run Malcors and Cursed Shore on up to 9 characters.
Oh goodness.
That's how I sit down and do things. Yeah. So, but you can get they're introducing some new Halloween items with this, including a mini blood prints, the 20 slot Halloween bags like we were talking about earlier, and then also special crafting items for Halloween weapons. I don't know what that means actually, the Halloween weapons, because there were there were Halloween weapons last year, which had really cool skins, but they were really hard to get.
They were basically like mini legendaries.
Yeah.
Which was kind of annoying. I mean, I wonder if this is going to see a shift in ArenaNet's philosophy of the Mystic Toilet of randomness, which I would be completely okay with. I hate that thing. I have no luck when it comes to RNG. So if it's something that I can work towards, I think that would be something that people are more interested in. Actually going out and spending the time gathering the materials and then doing things like that, as opposed to, well, I could get lucky if I throw some stuff in, or I could get screwed.
Well, the recipes for the actual Halloween weapons were like their actual recipes. It wasn't just throw some weapons in and hope to get a Halloween weapon.
Yeah.
The thing with it was you needed like gifts and the sigils, and so it's just like bleh.
Right.
And they actually took those recipes out. So
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
they
After the
removed
patch,
them a few
they
months
were-
ago. You can't make them right
Wow.
now.
That's very strange. I hadn't heard about that. I thought they were cool as a, it was hard to get them during Halloween. They actually did something that they haven't done since Halloween last year, where they had temporary weapons, and you could buy these skins that were like these mini legendaries we're talking about. This would be Arachnia, the short bow, the Mad King shield, and there was the crossing, the staff. It has a hand and it holds a lantern. You could buy temporary versions for 3 silver maybe a piece.
Excuse me one moment.
Yeah, it's all good. And we haven't seen that since. And when it came to Winter's Day, we would see they had it was very easy to get all the skins. In fact, it was so easy that they're very, even now, a year after Winter's Day, they're maybe 7 silver on the trading post. And there was a big to-do about it, how getting the holiday weapons was so frustrating. I would absolutely love for them to, well, first to expand the weapon set, and then to make them more accessible. Although I do have to say, it's interesting comparing this Halloween patch to the previous one. You have to understand that last year's Halloween patch was the first patch
Major
in
patch,
Guild Wars
yeah.
2.
And it was
Like
phenomenal.
the first content patch. Yeah, it was fabulous. I'm so excited again for this series. If you haven't been, definitely it's something to check out. But in addition to the Halloween content, we're getting a bunch of combat quality of life stuff. Do you guys want to...
But before we go into that,
Okay.
you mentioned expanding the weapon sets. Can I just point out that there are screenshots with new weapons and new armor in them?
Where?
On the page, you can like see them, and on their
I
screenshot
somehow
page.
missed that. All right, I'll have to go check that out. Oh yeah, and somebody in chat just pointed out there's actually, with the 2-week patch cycle, the next patch is slated for October 29th. So we'll likely see, in addition to all the usual festive stuff that's going on now, we'll probably see something like last year. Last year had 4 acts to the whole Mad King event. I'm thinking the finale and that kind of content will all come with that patch. But we don't really know a whole lot about it yet, like we know with this one. Right, so yeah, combat quality of life. I'm so excited for this. There's a lot of nice things. This isn't the stuff that usually gets me excited, but it's wonderful. Evie, do you want to talk about it at all?
Transparency!
Yes! I know Evie's a theory crafter, so he's a little bit happy about this. What about you, Wash? Is there anything you're looking forward to in particular?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, more information is always better. The fact that they're actually going to start giving us some information on tooltips, thank you. Generic tooltips, FTL. But also, I like the fact that they're going to change the way that condition numbers are shown. I mean, obviously, the way it is right now, it's kind of There's just numbers, especially if you're a necromancer like Eric. There's just numbers everywhere. I mean, just your screen is basically just the matrix code of numbers. So the fact that they're going to give us ways of displaying those and that we can just kind of glance, maybe see, oh, this is bleeding, oh, that's weakness or whatever. The fact that we can see that, I think, is going to be a big help.
Can I just point out with this tooltip, or well, not tooltip, floating numbers thing, that they're actually consolidating conditions. So there is a chance we might see an increased cap, if not a removal,
Please.
because this could mean that they're playing with the server code.
Ooh,
That would be nice. I mean,
I hadn't thought of that.
now when you say cap, are you talking the like limit of 25 or actual cap? Oh, okay, yeah, that's good. I want to increase in the number of things I can hit. If I got 20 things standing around me, I want to be able to hit all 20 of them.
Well,
Roll a
it used to be
necromancer.
that AoEs would hit everything within the
Yeah.
AoE, but that was incredibly powerful in
Oh,
World
yeah.
v World, and even in PvE with just events, because hordes of mobs, and it made AoE better than single target in almost every situation. So they kind of had to tone it down. I don't blame them for that. Every MMO ends up having to do that.
Oh yeah, AoE is always
So
it's always an issue, but it's so much fun too. Just go farm
if
all the things
anything, I'd
up.
like to see them take the cap off of elites. Make
Yep.
AoE elites kind of, oh, you can hit everything, because they're elites. I mean, why not?
I like that idea.
That would make plague forms so incredibly.
Well, plague forms are
Wonderful.
already really good.
Yeah. I
It
don't
would
know.
make things like Tornado really good, Dagger Storm really much
That's a good
better.
point.
Yeah,
But Dagger
'cause-
Storm already bounces, right?
Yeah, but each initial hit can only the way technically it works. Whenever you first do an attack, you'll hit 5 targets, and then they'll bounce. So there's still that cap there. If there is no cap, you'll hit everything in your AoE every time, and then they bounce. So it's like,
That would be so strong. I'm totally on board. Let's do it. While you're at it, make it available underwater.
please.
hey, it only took elementalists half a year to get an elite underwater skill?
Oh, you didn't have one?
No.
No, they
For the
didn't have
first 6 months of the game, there was no elite underwater skill because none of them could be used underwater. So we
I had
finally
no
got
idea.
because
So we
the
finally
coding
got-
for Whirlpool wasn't in yet.
Yeah. So they finally gave us Whirlpool, and now we have one. So at least we got that.
Well, Whirlpool is very strong, at least.
It is. It is. Yeah. But there's hope yet, I guess.
Wow.
Underwater has a lot of its own problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Z
I mean,
access.
it's still like the best underwater combat in any MMO, but there's some tweaking they need to do. Mainly in the fact that most builds that work on land don't work underwater.
The
Well, it's at least they were willing, I think, to take that leap. I mean, a lot of games either completely ignore underwater or do it very poorly. So the fact that they made something quasi decent
Mhm.
is a good thing in their favor.
I distinctly remember I tried Rift for a weekend around the time Rift launched, and I had just come from Guild Wars. I had been playing a lot of Guild Wars lately, not a whole lot of other MMOs, and I got to Rift, and I was running around with Hunter, and he goes, "Oh, by the way, you can swim," and so I go run and jump into the water, and I'm looking around, there's nothing. Like, the underwater in Rift was just sand. They didn't put rocks in there. They didn't put anything.
No ambient
and you could
fish,
drown.
nothing? Wow.
I think there were some enemies, maybe. I can't really remember. I just remember getting into Guild Wars 2 and finding a water to swim around in and going, wow, the environment is just fantastic. So
Well,
in addition, oh yeah, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say the other thing I'm really super excited about is the quick cast function.
Oh yeah. So do you want to run through those real quick?
Sure. Well, apparently, they're going to be messing around with some of the quick cast functions because right now the only options you have are ground targeting and cast at mouse.
Mhm.
So they're going to be giving us a couple of different options. The one will be kind of like it is now, where you can cast at your mouse location. Then you can cast on button release. Um, Maybe you guys know. I don't personally do a whole lot of
It,
ground targeting. So why is this a feature someone would want?
the thing with button releases, it lets you see the targeting reticle while you're holding down the button,
Mhm.
and then when you release it, it's cast. It's
Okay.
kind of like fast casting, if you want it to be. But if you need that precision, you don't have to hit the button twice.
Yeah.
See, I always just hit the button
It,
twice,
it's
so it's not.
it's a big thing if you're coming from like League or any other major MOBA,
I can see that.
because there's that there too, and with a lot of competitive games, that tends to be their go-to way of doing things. So
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
fingers crossed that they're doing this because of demand in SPVP.
I could see that in structured PvP, yeah, because I mean, obviously, with targets moving around so much that you don't want to, miss that opportunity. Um, and then obviously they're gonna have a third one as well, which we couldn't remember what it was called. I'm
Cast
really,
target.
oh, thank God.
Yes.
This will make me actually play my engineer. Because I like Grenade Kit. I don't like what it does to my keyboard and my fingers.
Yeah. And they said they were making improvements to targeting too. Does anyone know what those are?
With tab targeting, there's now a priority system with not only the
Ooh.
distance between you and your target, but the rank of the target. So if there's a bunch of normal mobs and a champion and you hit tab, even if that champion's in the back, if you can hit him, you're going to target that champion first.
Ooh, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously you sometimes need to deal with the trash before
Yeah.
tackling the champion.
But do you know if they fixed if I hit my button that's bound to closest target, is it actually going to target the thing closest to me?
Yes. Yes.
Best patch 2013.
Well,
Yes,
hey, as
good.
long as they can stop me from dropping target all the time, I'll be happy with that. I know a lot of people said, oh, that they, the option, it never has worked for me. I still drop target all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
As soon as I turned off, like, right click to target, I never had a problem again.
Yeah.
It reduced the frequency for me,
Yes.
but I still lose target a lot too.
Okay, good. Someone else who knows my pain.
Yeah, it's really
Well,
frustrating.
then again, I have attack, like, target on attack, so it might be that I am dropping target. I'm just not noticing because
Because it's
I hit
immediately
my buttons all the time.
Yeah, I don't have that on, so that might be it.
I like just comment in the chat. He'd be happy if the Rangers stopped targeting things on the other side of the map. Yeah,
Yes.
I would. Yes, please.
I don't play
Uh,
a ranger, so
so have any of you looked in the gem store today or seen anything really creepy wandering around? No? They added a so in keeping with tradition of the adding permanent gathering tools, they added a jack-in-the-box harvesting sickle, which actually turns you into a jack-in-the-box when you harvest something. And I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's positively the creepiest thing I've ever seen.
That's
I'm
fantastic.
terrified. I wish we had a screenshot to show you. I should have gotten one before.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean,
It's
I
the
already
stuff
have all
of
the other ones, but
nightmares.
that's awesome.
I don't. Oh, so you're not gonna get one because you already have all the other ones, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I I just don't even know. Well, first of all, I'm terrified of this. I don't even know what to think about it. But if it turns you, is it like a temporary animation or is it like a transform? Because I can see that being really annoying if you go out and you're
part of
like,
the
I should get a
animation.
potato, and then you turn into a Jack in the Box and you're stuck hopping around as the Jack in the Box.
No, from what I gather, it turns you into a Jack in the Box. You do
I
the
see what you did
animation,
there.
and then you like turn back.
From what I gather.
Someone cut my pun.
Wow.
I love it.
Yeah, it's. I'll have to check that out, but it's creepy. I'm sure. Go. I mean,
it should be. It's
clowns,
Halloween.
Come on. Well, exactly.
Yeah, but it's gonna be around forever, and I'm gonna be terrified. I'll just be, adventuring through Queensdale, and I'll run around the corner, and all of a sudden, Jack in the Box, nightmares for the next week. This is what I'm terrified about in Guild Wars 2, everyone. Now you know.
It's not the branded that are basically reapers and
Oh, no.
zombies and giant
Dragons,
dragons.
not scary. Jack in the Box, terrifying. Now you know.
Okay. An insight into Kate's psyche. Good to know.
Hmm. Also, the fireworks from Dragon Bash actually made their way back as Halloween fireworks
Ooh,
with
that's
the 50% magic fine to everyone in the area where you set them off. I can't remember how much they are, but those are cool. And if you wanted the Tequatl minis or the Season 1... Actually, this is kind of a big deal. The Season 1 minis are going away in a week. For good, question mark? They haven't really said anything about it. I just happened to notice when I was looking at the terrifying harvesting sickle that there's suddenly a countdown on the Season 1 minis, and they'll be gone in a week.
Yeah. I think they're gonna come. I think they'll make their way back. Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Put
Arena
them in
said
the
the same.
birthday presents next year.
Yeah. Oh, please. There was nothing worse than
Yeah.
having like 8 characters all get the same thing. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, I mean, obviously they brought back, in a limited time the harvesting sickles and the molten fire pick, and so I would see those possibly making a limited return just when ArenaNet needs another quick infusion of cash.
Do they really? I mean, Dr. Legendary exists.
This just in, Dr. Legendary supports the entire company.
Well, yeah.
Or at least 3 salaries. At
Can
least.
he,
Wow.
can he fund an expansion, though?
Oh, please. Yes, please.
Just give him a year. Maybe 2.
Yes, good. Okay.
He's probably
excited.
paying for Living Story right now.
Don't mind my son in the background. It's okay.
Oh. Eric's showing off this stuff on the stream. We have a producer now, guys.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Eric's not with us this week, but he gets to play with all the fancy stuff, so we have video and all kinds of cool stuff.
So if you get banned, just yell at us on Twitter so that we can smack Eric and fix it.
Yep. While we're looking at the internet, though, there's been some interesting things posted. Specifically on Facebook,
Oh, yeah.
ArenaNet is now showing an image. Do you guys know anything about that?
What's in the box?
Yeah, I think by far my favorite comment so far has been 2 blues and a green. That's what's in the box.
Yeah.
Because that's honestly kind of what I would expect right now.
Definitely a valid critique on the game. I don't know. It's a good one, but
So, I mean, that's just, and I've talked about this on other places and other forums as well, but my luck in MMOs is got to be the worst of the worst of the worst, sir. No.
You're-
ArenaNet made the change so that you would get at least a yellow or better item out of the dragon boxes. Remember that patch? Remember that? Yeah, I was one of the guys affected by the bug that I still got blues and greens.
You're in good company with that.
Try
RNG
and guess How many risen priests of Balthazar have I've gotten?
Oh no.
Just take a wild guess.
Dozen or more, I'm guessing.
Try hundreds.
Oh no.
Didn't you max out a stack?
I maxed out 3 stacks.
Sorry to laugh at your misfortune, Evie, but
That's fantastic.
just at
Love
that
it.
point, it's just so amazing. You can't help but laugh.
Oh yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I opened thousands. Well, not thousands, but at least 1,000 Dragon Jade coffers trying to get a great sword. Never got to take it.
Good
You ended up
times.
you ended up buying one when they unaccount on them, didn't you?
Yeah, when they made him account bound or sellable or whatever, I bought the great sword, a lacerator, and a pistol for my mesmer.
Sweet.
Oh, good times. Okay, good. Well, at least I'm in good company then.
Yeah, I also have horrendous RNG. I've been salvaging actually. I've been working on my ascended crafting, or trying to anyway. I've salvaged between, I would say, 6 and 10 exotics recently. I can't remember how many of the ones I crafted to get to 450 I salvaged. I still have 0 globs of dark matter.
Ooh,
I've been
ouch.
salvaging them with Black Lion kits. It's the worst,
Shouldn't that be a
most
guarantee?
demoralizing. Maybe it's bugged. From my understanding, the drop rate is supposed to be the same as Ecto's.
Mm-hmm. It's actually a little bit higher than Ecto's.
No. No. At this rate, I will never get an ascended weapon together.
That's okay. I'm not even touching crafting until they put the precursors in.
I've called it. It's not happening until March.
We have a forum post from ArenaNet saying it's probably not going to happen this year. I just want to go cry now. It's, I've finished my legendary, bearing or
Barring.
Barring.
that's the words. I can make words. Barring my precursor, and
Oof,
have
that's
just
rough.
been watching the prices rise because I've got to that point where like okay, I need to save for it, or whatever. My precursor jumped from 350 gold to 650 following Queen's Jubilee. Dusk is now as of last night, at 830.
It's
The
just going to keep
legend is
going
somewhere
up,
up
too.
around 900.
Yeah.
There's just I've put it on hold. Legendary's been something I've been struggling with since launch. The amount of resources put into it. I didn't want to do it at first, and then I needed a long-term goal, so I started working on it. Nope, it's just not going to get done. I don't have the attention span to save up 650 gold without like dropping T3 armor on any of my characters. And now that all
Yeah.
my gold is in one place too, with the change for the wallet, I tend to be really bad at budgeting now, because I used to throw all my money in the bank and then I'd keep like a gold on my characters. They could get waypoints and stuff. Now it's all in one place and I just want to spend it all the time. I'm a terrible person, but I can't budget with it all in one place. So it's become
Yeah,
a real
it was
problem.
a blessing and a curse.
The
Oh, so here's what I think's in the box. Did we ever answer that question?
No, actually we didn't.
Okay,
Go for it.
so I'm gonna say Pandora's in the box
Yes.
because we gotta throw in some Greek mythology in there. Why not? Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. With the ArenaNet has done really good at these marketing campaigns that get people interested, like the Obey Dismantle. If you were around for
Oh yeah.
War
They're
in
very good
Krita,
at viral.
that was fantastic. That was really engaging. This one, don't care. I'm gonna see it in a week. I haven't even really thought about what's in the box.
And
I'm
even
sure
then,
it's
with
like
their
bloody
track
prints or
record
something.
and boxes, my expectation, oh, it's another RNG box.
Yeah.
I hope that
That's
that's not
yeah,
what it is, but that's my expectation right now.
Hmm.
yeah. Unfortunately, I wonder what the
Especially like what's in the box. Like, oh, it's probably like a chance at something. Just
like last year where it was a chance at the skins.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
At least
I'm not gonna waste my money.
with with them making that change that when they were releasing new weapon sets with the patch, so like the Black Lion weapons and stuff, um, now being sellable.
Yeah.
I really that should improve. And now having the scraps, I'm not as entirely disappointed about the existence of boxes, but it's still not something I get excited about,
Yeah.
even with the ability to obtain them.
Agreed. But maybe we're just all cynics.
I
I go
yes.
by experience, so
Right?
Yeah.
I'm hoping that like those screenshots that no one knows or even mentions because like you don't see it anywhere that there's new armor and new weapons. It's like, oh hey,
Yeah.
they're also pointing out this box. Maybe that's what's in there, and it's like, oh wait,
Yeah.
RNG, new weapons.
No, thank you.
So here's a question. Would you rather have new armor obtainable in-game through random boxes or on the gem store?
The gem store, because even then it still has a set gold price.
Well, yeah, I guess.
How about attainable through like playing the game?
Yes,
Well, that
please.
wasn't one of the
That's the
options.
ideal one. But, just the way Evie phrased it, I'm
Yeah.
tired of
Oh, absolutely.
new
I
armor
and
being only on the gem store.
yeah. Well, and that's kind of what they did, obviously, with the Christmas patch last year.
Hmm.
They actually had where you could buy the specific weapon skins, you know, from the store, unless of course you liked the temporary ones, and then you had to get them in game. But I'd like to see them do. I'd like to see them. I'd rather pay a specific amount and get exactly what I want than RNG it.
My biggest thing with the gem store armor is that it's per character, one time use, and
Yeah.
it's like I would buy every single one if it was account bound and I could reuse them. Like I
Agreed.
would, they would come out with it. I might not even like it right then and there, and I'll buy it
Yep.
just because I can use it eventually.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I have to wonder how much money are they making that they're actually like how many people are actually buying multiple sets
Not this guy.
because they're losing money in the sense that there are tons of people that are not buying these armors because they're not account bound and are the people that are buying multiple sets making up for that.
Possibly. I mean, I guess it's kind of the same reason why the infinite harvesting materials were account bound until you used it on a character, and then it was soul bound. The whole they want you to buy multiple sets. I mean, obviously they're in it to make money, and that's the way that they're gonna be doing that. Is by making those limited use things as opposed to unlockable things. I would like it the other way, but
The thing with the gathering ones, though, to me, it's not that big of a deal because it's a convenience item.
yeah.
Hmm.
Whereas the armors are completely cosmetic, so it's just like,
Right, and since such a large portion, excuse me, of the game is cosmetic, that's a big deal.
That's essentially your progression
Mhm.
right now,
well, there's
especially.
ascended gear now, so
Uh,
Eh,
I had to bring it up. I'm sorry.
yeah. The armor's not in yet. It's kind of still progression. I'm not happy about ascended armor becoming a thing. Even seeing the skins and going, yeah, wow, those are pretty cool. The knowing what's coming with the ascended weaponry, not looking forward to it at all.
Did you see the stat comparisons?
Mm-mm.
Someone like did the math for just defenses, and apparently the biggest upgrade for ascended armor, as far as defenses are concerned, is going to be for berserkers. Because when you have no toughness, the armor of the actual armor is more effective because it's a larger portion of the the build that is going to get the most out of this armor are berserker warriors.
I already run around in all berserker gear and just don't care. I mean,
Math.
I guess that's a good transition into our next point, right? About they're going to be looking at supporting other spec diversity, making them actually important.
This is what I want them to do. I want them to take stats off of armor and be like, all right, everyone just has celestial stats. Deal with it. And then build off of traits.
That would be nice.
There.
That would be cool.
That's what I want to happen.
It won't, but it'd be nice.
Well, they can still have their quality. Like, if you're wearing this armor, you get this much stats from it and whatnot. But, like, just make everything celestial. Be done with it. Because everyone's in Berserker as it is. So it's just like, what's the point?
Yeah, I think, no matter what they do with gear, it'll ultimately come back to the encounters aren't encouraging anything but damage right now. Actually, we're seeing better. I have to talk about Aetherblade Path real quick. Have you had a chance to finish it yet?
I have not yet.
Okay, so last week we came on. Last week we came on. We talked about how we did the day it came out. We did a 4-hour run of it that we couldn't finish because we ran out of time. But had a blast with it, and now that we've been able to finish it a few times, it takes about maybe an hour and 15 minutes now. I think
it's like an Orr path.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's pretty normal. It's still a great dungeon. I feel people haven't been talking about this enough. How great this actual dungeon is, in terms of it exemplifies everything an explorable dungeon should be. It's tough. You have to pay attention. You have to be coordinated. The mechanics encourage skillful play individually, but also together. When you finish it, the new pathways open up. It's not done when you're done. It becomes even more explorable. Ooh, there's all kinds of new events that start. There's bonus achievements that you can go back and get. There's hidden areas. This is what explorable dungeons should be to me. I'm so happy about this. And if you haven't had a chance to go do it yet, I highly recommend it. You can finish the meta achievement for it in one run. One that records, or not records, the rewards even. The slick pack. The one that rewards the mini, that meta achievement, is much more long term. And it's absolutely something that's needed. It's a thing to work towards.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do a couple of runs. You're not gonna have to grind it, but you're gonna have to do it well. You're gonna have to put a little bit of time and effort into it, and it shows. If you have that clock heart, it shows that you've mastered the dungeon.
It's less of a how many times have you run this dungeon, and more of a how well can you run this dungeon.
Yes, it's wonderful. I really can't say enough about it.
Which is the same thing why I love the Queen's Gauntlet, because you could potentially fight every boss only once.
Yeah.
But once you have that Liadri mini, people know that you knew what you were doing in that situation.
Mm-hmm. I think I derailed us, though. Weren't we going to talk about character progression? That's kind of what we're getting at with the Ascended gear. Sure.
I thought we were going to talk about the slaying potions.
Oh, we can talk about slaying potions. We'll talk about slaying potions real quick, and then we'll get into bar brawl and tear each other apart, because we're all friends, right, guys?
Best bug ever.
somebody discovered recently on the forums, I think this week, that slaying potions are in fact a double-edged sword. When you use a slaying potion, you are doing the damage it says, but unfortunately, you're also taking damage. And the damage that you take from the specific mob types that you use, so like say you're going through Aether Path and you're using a bandit or an outlaw slaying potion to kill the pirates. You deal 10% more damage to them. You also take 10% more damage to them. From them, even. It's the newest in a long series of strange bugs.
Just how?
I don't know. Has it been in from launch and we haven't noticed?
Maybe.
I don't know.
No,
But
people would have
ArenaNet,
noticed at launch because I
All
mean
the theory
that's
crafting
actually
back then,
pretty
yeah.
big.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was
No,
probably something
ArenaNet's-
introduced. Yeah.
Yeah, they said yesterday they're looking into it. We'll see a
Which
resolution
makes
to
me
it soon.
wonder, what were they doing with the code for potions
Good question.
that it got changed?
You can make them with artificing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct,
Maybe
yeah.
they're making ascended versions of them. Bum bum bum.
Because, I
No,
mean,
thank you.
No.
can I bring up the data mined cooking stuff?
Yes.
Because
data
that's a
mining's good.
thing. And the idea of endless food is amazing.
So can you talk about? I actually haven't heard about this at all. What do you know about it?
I can't remember exactly where I found it, but I was going through Reddit or something, and a new data miner, like new user, found ascended cooking recipes. And they're basically, you create them and you can use them as many times as you want. And they're feasts, is what they're called.
That's interesting that they would do that, given the fact that they have the gem store version. I mean, it seems like that would be taking away
Gem
from
store
revenue.
version of what?
I thought didn't they have a gem store feast?
Yeah, but that's different buffs. It's not like plus precision and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
It's like Karma Gain, Magic Find, and all that whatnot.
Yeah.
Granted, you can get that through food too, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
So is it like when you say feast, I think of the bowls or stuff that you put on the ground. Is it one of those?
We don't know that. It's
Okay.
just called a feast.
That's interesting. Can I set it on
But,
autocast though? I'm so sick of spamming my food and like making sure it's up every few minutes. I hope.
Yeah.
I really hope if it's ascended and they're making all these improvements to it, make it so that it lasts a couple hours.
At least an hour.
I wouldn't
At
be
least an
surprised
hour.
if it lasted an hour. The biggest thing, though, is that there are nowhere near as many recipes as there are food in the game right now. So we might not be seeing every kind of buff that exists for food.
I can't
know
imagine them
that
trying to work all
they're-
those in though.
I
Yeah.
know that the main, like, actual combat buffs are in, but there's nothing for Karma Gain. There's nothing for Endurance Regeneration or Magic Find.
It's interesting that they leave Magic Find out, although I guess I understand that with them de-emphasizing that as a stat and changing it to be more of a buff, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Even
It's
though,
an extra perk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a perk. I like that. So, actually, that transitions nicely into our next segment, which is Bar Brawl, because tearing each other apart is fun. So this week I've been thinking a lot about alts and character progression. Between people complaining about World versus World with the season 1 coming up and, not having the levels across all their characters. So my question to you guys, and the question that I asked on Twitter earlier is, what in Guild Wars 2 should be soulbound and what should be account bound? I mean, where do you trade being alt friendly for having meaningful character progression? Silence. What do you guys think?
I already know my answer. I'm just waiting for you guys to go. Because my answer is very short and to the point.
Everything should be account bound.
Yeah.
Everything.
because the player is the person putting forth the effort.
I would actually like to see them enable the ability to do a switch between. So if I have, like an exotic item that I want to use, on my warrior, let's say, and then okay, well now I'm leveling up a guardian, and when I get up there, I want to be able to use that. Well, let me go pay or be able to craft an item, let's say, that unbinds the item and then allows me to transfer it over to another character. I'd like to see that kind of a system.
I mean, there are certain things that I can see staying character bound, like the rewards you get from a dungeon, or the quartz node in your home instance. Only be able to gather that once per account. I would like to see Ori Halcom do that and all the other nodes. Just because, I mean, it's a hassle and it promotes kind of a grindy gameplay.
Yeah.
And I can understand why you would want it, but at the same time, I think that it does too much harm to justify having it still. But on the other hand, anything that is something where the player is putting forth progression towards an end goal, like say a legendary, fractal levels, World v World ranks, all those I think should be account bound.
What about go ahead, sorry.
I was actually going to say, and even ascended gear and exotics should be account bound, in my opinion.
Actually, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. One thing I would love to see is waypoints be account bound.
The thing with that, though, is like exploration is a huge part of not only leveling, but obtaining the gift.
Sure, but you can still, I mean, obviously you still discover areas and you open up the map. It unfogs like, you see in the game. I still say allow that. But honestly, I'm struggling to get world completion just once because I'm on a crappy, World v World server. But if I've taken and put the time and effort in to get world completion on one character, I think I should be able to at least hop anywhere in the world that I want to on any character.
I personally agree. It's just, for me, it's kind of a devil's advocate thing because it's so ingrained into the coding. I have to wonder if they can actually do it.
I don't know. I bet they could. Like, I don't know, maybe once. Yeah, I think it would be doable. To me, as I don't role play my characters, but all of them have a very specific backstory, and I invest in developing my characters. And for me, part of that is exploration. Where my character has been in game is very important to who that character is. So, as someone who enjoys that sort of aspect of gameplay, I wouldn't want to see them just being able to go anywhere in the world suddenly. I guess, Waypoints doesn't have to do that if it doesn't just reveal the whole map for you, but it does kind of lose that sense of, well, this is where I've been. In terms of, stuff you have to unlock, stuff like fractals, I think that should absolutely be account bound. It's such a pain to have to go back and unlock stuff like that.
And speaking of like unlocking things, story mode dungeons.
Oh,
why are those not account bound?
I just had that yesterday. I tried running a TA and I'm like, oh, I can't start it up. Sorry guys, someone else is gonna start it because I haven't done explorable on this character or story on this character. Yeah.
Actually, we should read off the stuff from Twitter because people had had really good responses to the question I asked, and a lot of them weren't necessarily things I expected. Shungkook is going to bring them all up on the screen, so I'll have to read them from there. Neo Nugget wants account-wide world versus world ranks. The gap between his main and the other alts has become so big he doesn't play anymore. That's a big issue for me.
Agreed.
And in fact, it's keeping me out of World versus World almost altogether right now because I don't want to invest in any one character because I play all of my characters so much. I have 8 80s right now and 3 between 20 and 50. And it's nope, I don't want to invest anything in them, and I feel shortchanged when I go in characters that aren't leveled. It's a not a good system of progression right now. And Neo also says that he hates armor purchased from the gem store can only be used once. I think we talked about that a little bit earlier, but
Yeah, you know what I would love to see regarding that is a system similar to like what DC Universe had. Did any of you guys play that?
no.
So in DC Universe, you actually unlocked different skins, and so your character could be wearing any skin that you had found and equipped on your character, and it basically unlocked this tab of things that you could scroll through and find what you wanted to wear. I would love to see something like that, and that would get rid of the problem with like the gem store items, where you could just select, okay, I want to wear this set of gem store skins. Yeah, I agree that.
It'll also kind of downplay transmutation stones, though. So
Of course. Oh,
I don't
well,
see
yeah.
them doing that because transmutation stones are probably their biggest constant income from the gem store.
But maybe they could change the transmutation stone so that it gave you the ability to unlock that skin. That way you would still have to purchase them in order to, if you wanted to put those on, on your account.
Greibach had a really good point. Well, first of all, he says no on waypoints. In typical Greibach fashion, we get a flood of tweets, which is always wonderful. But, he says no on waypoints because of map completion. Yes, on World versus World and fractals. He made a really interesting point. He said story mode shouldn't even be required for explorable mode, and if it is, it should be account bound because it has no purpose. He also agrees with us that anything from the gem store should be account bound, and personal reward and fractals should go away too. Those two, story mode shouldn't be required and personal reward should go away. I hadn't thought, like, I just think of things as, they're in the game, so I'll deal with them that way. Story mode, if you account bound it, it doesn't really have, there's no need to require it. It's very kind of a clunky, not needed system to go into explorable mode because you don't need it anyway. Anyone can ferry you in. And the same goes for fractals, where you can enter at any level and do it. And in a way, it penalizes you for not grinding fractals, or you don't get as much of a reward for doing a level 30 fractal at level 20, even though you've just done a level 30 fractal. Like, you've done something beyond, like above and beyond, and not been rewarded for it. Yeah, it's a tough one to deal with because you lose that sense of character progression for the individual character, but I don't know. It's an interesting debate. Christian says fractal level should be account wide. I know he had more things, but he's geared 580s up to, he can't think of things.
Yeah.
Again, fractals, just,
I'd like to see a compromise done, like, because everyone's mentioning fractals, where they make them account wide, but you can't be ferried into a higher tier anymore.
A higher tier, not a higher level. So, so 21
So
to
if you're
29 couldn't be ferried into 30.
you can't be taken to 30.
Interesting.
I
I like
could
that
see
as
that.
a
Taken to
compromise.
29, but not 30. And on top of that, if you finish at 29 and you're 20, you go to 29.
That would be fun.
Mr. X has a good point. This is Opt Maleficus from Twit Guild. He has 2 characters at level 30, and if they made it account wide, he would somehow would need to somehow reward that extra effort that he went into to put two characters there. I'm not necessarily sure I agree with that, but it definitely, if they did
It's a
make that
point.
change.
It's a point, sure, but it's the same point of someone saying, "Oh, hey, if they made legendaries account bound, why?" I mean, they need to reward people that have multiple legendaries. I'm just sitting here like, well, you have multiple legendaries. What more reward do you need?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
At Not Elephant on Twitter says gathering tools should not be soulbound. I totally agree.
They're
And
not.
the aren't they? Like
The ones that you,
orichalcum sickles and stuff?
no, the ones that you can buy are not account bound.
I thought they
Interesting.
became account bound. Well, not account bound, soul bound.
The
Once
gem store
you
ones,
use them.
the Infinite did.
Oh, now that you mention it, I think they did change that. I remember definitely at launch they were not
Yes.
account bound because I would just throw them out, and I was so mad
Yep.
about how many I was throwing out because I would level up and I'd have 40 copper pickaxes lying in my inventory going, yep, well, those will never be used again.
Yep.
Which is not true because I bought 4 more character slots. And then he also brings up the point he would love if there was a way to make soul-bound gear account-bound again to give to alts. Even for a fee. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would rather see something put in similar to Guild Wars 1, where instead of everything being soul bound to start with, it's account bound to start with. And if you want to tie it to one character, you can pay a fee and have it get a little boost, like customization did for weapons in Guild Wars 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How much of a boost?
Well,
I'm scared. I'm so scared for more things that are stat differences.
I'd say 5% on weapons,
Yeah.
Sure.
especially if it's a small fee.
But that
Yeah,
brings
you're
up,
paying-
doesn't that bring up an exotic one to the level of Ascended?
Why not? You don't get the stats, just that little damage boost.
It's interesting.
And there's no infusion slot.
All right.
Oh, Daddy, I so agree with you.
Yeah. There's
Sorry.
one more. Daddy Bojangles wants the bag slots to be account bound that you buy, the purchasable upgrades. I totally agree with that one too. It bothers me that they're not to some extent. That's an account upgrade. It should be
Yeah.
like
For
your
your
bank
account.
slots are. Somebody made a really good point. In terms of gems per slot cost, it's still way more effective to buy a new character slot than any of bank slots or bag slots.
Yeah, it's better to mule things, unfortunately, than it is to
Mhm.
buy the bags and bank slot.
I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, but if you're looking to get the most character slots for your buck, that's the way to do it.
And I think that really just ties back into everything from the gem store should be account bound.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, just to bring it back to the original question, how to phrase this? What makes meaningful character progression? Because the systems of progression that we're seeing right now with World versus World and Fractals, designed to give us meaningful character progression, clearly aren't doing it since
It's just
everyone
becoming an
wants to be account
inconvenience.
bound. Yeah, they're totally inconvenient. So what would you like to see that would make character progression meaningful?
I'm gonna dig way into the archives for this one, but when skill points were first being mentioned during the development of Guild Wars 2,
Mhm.
they were going to be profession-specific challenges. I would love to see them do a cosmetic progression system, or even unlocking certain skills for specific professions using a system like that. It would bring back the idea
Yeah.
of like the signet of capture for Guild Wars 1 without making it like, oh hey, you just go to this area and kill something. So it's more interactive. There's the profession aspect of it, which adds a sense of uniqueness per character.
Hmm.
Because most people are not going to have multiple thieves because they're not Kate.
Yep.
And on top of that, they could introduce very interesting things if they're profession specific, like new particle effects, new colors, things like that. You want green fire on your guardian because you're doing a little bit more healing now rather than damage with it because
Hmm.
you did this specific profession thing. Go ahead and do it. You want white particle effects on your thief rather than these black ones. Go ahead and do that.
Well, didn't they already mention that they were going to be introducing new skills and new abilities, and that they would actually be acquired through somewhere out in the world?
Hmm.
Well, technically, with skill challenges, they could just add it to the way they are now,
Yeah.
and they'd be right.
Yeah, I don't. To some extent, I enjoyed, bringing this back to Guild Wars 1 again, because that's my previous MMO experience. I liked that I had to go out and find skills both in the world and, traveling around the different towns and finding the right skill trainer. To me, just in Guild Wars 2, the way the system works with skills is I don't necessarily feel rewarded when I get a new skill. I feel like I've just, overcome a hurdle to having something that I should have access to.
Yeah.
I really
See, I
like
was the
Evie's
opposite
idea.
with Guild Wars 1, though. I
Mhm.
hated the signet of capture, having to go out and find a specific mob to get this specific skill. Half the time, it wasn't even a challenge. It was just, oh, did it spawn?
Yeah.
And it was incredibly frustrating. And I was that guy. I unlocked basically all my skills in PvP and then used the
Yep.
tome.
Yep. Same here.
I it's funny. I said I liked that, but when I was doing my skill captures for my God Walking title, I was so angry every time I had to go out and get a skill. I had finished vanquishing Tyria or all three continents actually, with less than 9 elite skills. And then I had to go out and get all of the other ones for my title. It was a very long and not fun process of running out, capturing them, and going back. But if I had spread it out over the long term, I would have enjoyed it a lot more, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. That's about it. Actually, you know what? We have a huge community corner today, so I'm just going to start in on that. Um, the Okay, well, first of all, on the forums, they made a short post about community development just recently, um, or actually just earlier today. Chris Whiteside posted that you know when they're interacting with the community, they're looking for constructive feedback, and they want to foster a good relationship where the community does really help develop the game. It's mostly there's no big news in it. It's mostly we want to work with you. Please be respectful of us. Um, and yeah, that's about it. Do you guys have any comments on that? Did you read through it?
Can I just point out that basically every reply after that is just full of
Troll.
sarcasm? Well, they're
Yeah.
not trolls. It's just full of sarcasm. They're just like, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. And granted, it is kind of bitter, but they have a point because in the past, sure, there's some shining moments where they very obviously have listened to the community, but they've
Mhm.
done a lot of things that go against what they've said they would do before and things that we've said, hey, we don't want this, and they're still they pumped out another one.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I'm I hate to be this way, but I'm a skeptic with it, just because in the experience for the past year, it hasn't been that way. So when I see it, I will be singing a completely different tune. Until then, not so
Yeah,
much.
it's one of those trusts has to be earned, and
Hmm.
honestly, I think ArenaNet love you guys. You've been a great game developing company.
Hmm.
You've done a lot to break people's trust, in my opinion. In my opinion, I know for me, this first year of Guild Wars was a lot of up and down,
Hmm.
and so it's going to take them really putting the right foot forward to earn that trust back and to make me go, okay, yeah, this is something that you're going to follow through on. This is something that you can do. Um,
Do
so
you
I
think
totally understand the sarcasm in the thread.
do you think it's a case of the vocal and um yeah, I guess the vocal
The vocal
minority
minority.
being really, passionate about the game that and not seeing that? Because what I've been seeing in the updates is that they they're always a good improvement to someone.
Hmm.
It's not the same people every time. Some updates favor World versus World, some favor,
Sure.
solo players, some favor group play. They can't please everyone with every patch. Do you think it's just the vocal minority being jaded by that?
I really don't think it's more of a, because I mean, let's face it, most PvE players, they see a World v World patch and they're not going to care about it. It's not that they have disdain for it. It's just that that's not what they do. Why would they care?
Hmm.
The only exception to that is when they make a balance change for a specific class that is very much geared towards PvP and it affects PvE in a very heavy way. They haven't really done that yet, though, for the most part, with the exception of thieves and weakness. Not thieves with weakness, but just thieves and weakness.
Right.
And even then, ultimately, it was still a plus on both sides. However, I think that the disdain is coming more from one, they're not being transparent with a lot of the things. I mean, sure, it was like, oh, hey, we know what's coming in this next patch, but the next patch is next week.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You
We
expect
don't know
any
what's
company
going
to
to
do
be
that.
happening in on the 29th. Most MMOs will say, oh, hey, this is coming next month or in 2 months. We don't know that. Unless you're part of the select few that happens to be in testing, but I mean, we don't work at ArenaNet. So, other than that, there's also they've gone back on their word sect, which I kind of fall into. My biggest disdain for them so far, and probably my only one because Guild Wars 2 is a great game, is that they released Ascended gear.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And you could argue, well, if they had it at release, then you wouldn't have it. It's like, that's just it. They didn't have it at release.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't buy the whole. We were gonna intend to do this all along. Well, if that was really the
Yeah.
case, yeah, though it was thrown together as a oh crap, people finished our game in a month and we don't know what to do now.
And even if they did have it at release, I would still have been bitter that they had gone back on their word
Yes,
because it takes so long to get Ascended gear, and
yes,
it's more stats.
yeah.
Do you think one thing I've always said is I don't think the game was ready when it released. I think they were rushed. Do you think that's a side effect of that? No.
I think it's a
Mm,
side effect, but I think at the same time
It was a knee-jerk reaction to
it
the
was
fact that everyone
yeah,
had exotics.
yes,
Hmm.
yeah. So anyway,
Yeah,
yeah,
back to Community Corner. The Ascension Project. This is a community effort to show off good gameplay. Beautiful gameplay is the word they use.
nice.
If you're talented at playing the game, they want to see it. Their current challenge is to go in and do, I forget which path of Codicus's Manor it is. Um, the one with Frost at the end. They want you to kill him with all melee weapons and record it and share it with the thing
Nice.
Just
or
go in
with
there
the
with a
thing
bunch of
being the forums.
berserkers. Done.
Exactly. No big deal.
Well, if he doesn't wipe the floor with them, Frost is not nice at up close.
You want to know the best time I've had with that boss was with
Mhm.
5 sword pistol thieves.
Oh.
We would jump in and out
Wow.
with sword 2. It was the easiest fight ever.
That's yeah, cool. Maybe we'll have to go in and do that and submit to that. All right,
Can
other
I get
things.
my video of me soloing the volcano fractal boss after everyone died for like 30% on my thief, mind you?
Yes.
Can I just like send that to them?
I don't know. Maybe you can suggest that as a future project because they're looking for more. They're looking for people to participate and expand. So if that's something you're interested, I'll go ahead and link that in the chat when I'm done. Eric says he recently listened to Dynamically Spoken and Get Cooped has infectious enthusiasm. So if you want to feel better about Guild Wars 2, go listen to them. He was wonderful to talk to. We did an interview with him for our year in review. Very passionate about the game. Tequatl Terror Squad is a guilds alliance comprised of over 2,000 people now and building.
Nice.
Dedicated to taking out Tequatl and other world bosses. They're on Twitter now as @TTS Guild. Go check them out if you haven't taken down Tequatl yet. They're very good people. I like working with them. I like talking to them. They operate only in overflows. So if you are on a North American server and you don't even have to worry about guesting, you can just hop in an overflow and look for them. I think just before they took down 5 Tequatls at once.
Wow.
They were on 5 different overflows and down them all at the same time. So very,
Isn't the
very good
record
at
that
what they
they have
do.
now with 8 minutes and 37 seconds left?
That's what I hear. Yeah,
Wow. Good job.
isn't that less than half the timer?
That's less than half.
Yeah.
That's amazing. In terms of server community, northernshiverpeaks.org is just taking off. If you're on Northern Shiver Peaks, I highly recommend going and visiting that. If you're not on Northern Shiver Peaks, there are many, many other community sites. And if you actually, I'm collecting a list of these. So if you're not on Northern Shiver Peaks, please link me your server site.
I'm pretty sure Emery
If you
Bay
know about
has
it.
one too, and so
Yeah.
does Crystal Desert.
I found about 1/5 of them so far, but there's about 50 servers or so, something like that, across EU and North America. So I'm slowly tracking them down in my free time, but it's taking a while. I have to say, every server site I've been to has been really nice. They're all well designed and they look great.
The tinfoil hat skeptic in me is saying that ArenaNet is actually making these.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, okay. Pink Day is in less than 2 weeks. It's on October 19th, 12 to 6 p.m. Central. It will be hosted on Henge of Dinravi, Tarnished Coast, Northern Shiver Peaks, and Stormbluff Isle, I want to say, in North America. There are different ones on EU. I'm not sure who's hosting it. You can get in touch with Dragon Season at DragonSeason.com on Twitter, or various other places. Dragon Season is all over. Or you can get in touch with me and I'll get you in touch with someone who knows more about it than I do. We will be at Northern Shiver Peaks 1 if you want to come hang out with us that day. We're also
And we
doing
may or may not be giving stuff away,
maybe.
or maybe not.
I don't think we are. I don't think we're that involved because we're involved with a different charity event that will be going on November 16th to the 17th. I'll have more info about me, about
us.
that even upcoming soon. We're looking to get you more information about that. But if you're interested in participating in that with us, let me know. We'll get you hooked up. We just want to know, when you're available. There will be prizes. There will be fun times to be had. In terms of what's going on with the podcast, if you missed it earlier, we're welcoming Washednblood on as a new member of the team. He'll be around a lot more. You'll see we're going to start getting more stuff on our front page. And we got accepted into the SoundCloud podcasting program, and we'll be making our way to iTunes shortly, being this week sometime when I get around to making all the things work. So you can look forward to that. The audio show is going strong, and we're going to keep working on that. Shongaku is, on break, but he'll still be around. He's actually producing. He's doing stuff on the show now, so we'll have a higher quality in-show, live show type thing. Yeah, we're looking to expand. Also, Shongaku wants me to let you know that you can win 10 gold if you tune in next week. So look forward to that. We're going to start giving away stuff on the show too, I think.
Darn
All kinds of
hosts
stuff to
being
look forward
exempted.
to. All right, I think that's it for today. If you want to get in touch with us, you can contact us at relicsofore@gmail.com or at relicsofore on Twitter. I check the forums every day, and yeah, get in touch with us. We like to talk to you. Does have any closing words for us?
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. We're happy about you joining our team. All right. Well, thanks
You
for
give me a
coming,
reason
everyone.
not to shave anymore.
I know we're gonna have to do something about that for Kate. I mean, she's probably feeling left out.
It's okay. I have this.
Just, Kate, just like grab your hair and just tie it on your chin.
That'll work. All right. Thanks for coming, everyone. We enjoyed, being here. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.